what my ideal like fantasy is portraying something that is effortless. It's effortless that you don't have to learn different languages. You don't have to learn different policies. You don't have to learn different histories. This is impossible to have the freedom I'm having and not pay the price I'm paying. And hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Current Art Podcast. I'm Yaching, and today I'm with my friend and architect Annemarie Heydeck. Again, we are in Berlin, Mauer Park in Prenzlauer Berg. Is it correct?
Yes. Hello. Yaching, you're back so
Yeah,
fast.
I know.
Missing
Like,
Berlin.
I know. I think the last time we recorded a podcast was in August,
It
and
was
now,
still warm, no?
yeah, it
It
was
was
still warm.
starting to get a bit more chilly, but we're still in a t-shirt, no? And now we're wrapped up in many layers.
I mean, you specifically wrapped up.
And you, yesterday,
Yeah,
you should have seen her like many layers. This year is kind of especially a bit cold, no?
I know. I was wearing like crazy mountain clothes yesterday because, like, I think the temperature suddenly sinking. Yeah.
So
Yeah, but we are at a very interesting place.
yeah, I think so. You came from your hometown, passing Beijing, now in
Yeah.
Berlin, going back to New York. So you have the full trip, no? Asia, Europe, and then
Yeah,
United States, America, no?
I
How does
know.
it feel? You were in transit, no?
Yeah, I know. It's like crossed 3 continents.
Right?
And like such a huge event happened in my life. My like grandmother passed away
Yeah.
in China. It was so everything was so unexpected, and she was diagnosed Alzheimer, and soon that her like whole health situation worsened. So I didn't have enough time to think, or I didn't have enough time to react, and very soon I booked a flight to China and taking care of her. And luckily, I had a week together with her before she passed away. And then I stayed with my family for a week or so, and then now I'm in Berlin with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how was it actually with your grandmother? Did she also grow up with her?
No, I
Was she
didn't
like
grow up with her. Like, we were not extremely close. Like, her body situation was always a bit
fragile?
fragile. So she was not this type of grandma who would play with you the whole time. But she loves cooking,
Mm-hmm.
and she loves like cuisine and baking. So she would always bake me the little dessert at home,
Oh.
and also she does her own like research about salt industry in China. Those things I figured out after she died. So I found her notes. I found her study about nutrition. That was very exciting.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And also I found her love letters to my grandpa.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you showed me the pictures, not the old pictures when they were together, no?
Yeah. They were the only happy couple in my family. So yeah, really, that's so shocking when I found the love letter when they describe their relationship as love relationship that I have never ever encountered in my family. Yeah. So always fighting, but yeah. But for them, this was full of respect and love. It's
Yeah.
something that I also wanted, by the way.
Yet to come, yet to come.
Here to come, yeah, right.
Oh.
Hopefully, yeah. And then we are now in a very special place, which here the Berlin Wall used to stand here, right, in this Mauer
I
Park.
know you love this topic, so we're discussing today where to go.
Yeah,
And this is like a, yeah, like a casual park, no, like another left spot in the city. And we have a flea market here now,
yeah.
and many places where people can grab food, snacks, and drinks, and
Mm.
let's do some little shopping. And then still, yeah, of course, it is this empty because the wall used to be in this position.
Yeah,
So it's one of the spots not yet filled up, and hopefully it's gonna stay as a park. So yeah,
hopefully.
yeah, I think so. I think so. But yeah, as you can see, it's not like super, let's say, much designed in a way or anything. It's just like that, very simple, no?
I read something about the aura on the airplane while I was transiting from China to Germany this time. But I don't exactly remember what was that aura about, but it was talking about when the artist is making the work, it has certain aura like in front of that object they made, like in front of the artwork, which AI, artificial intelligence, doesn't have
Mm-hmm,
it. It
mm-hmm.
has this certain like craftsmanship,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe this kind
Yeah.
of like understanding is more simple,
Mm.
but it's some feelings that is hard to describe with word. It is actually visible to the eyes or visible to our sensitivity.
Mm-hmm.
We can sense it.
Yeah, I think this keyword craftsmanship is very important, especially for the design fields. Like all the design, for sure, fashion is so important. Um, Furniture is so important, and then also for architecture is very important. And I guess artists is a bit more free because there's so many ways of expression.
Yeah,
So the maybe the focus is a bit can be a bit shifted. But I think yes, when we lose the connection to the craftsmanship, it's difficult point in design. No, and I think this sometimes I see things and when they're sold for expensive price, and I wonder, yeah, what is this? Is this really designed? Like is this really like something that I would say like okay, this is what it's meant to be?
mm,
And maybe it's missing in this aura. I mean, there's a lot of theories about also architecture theorists. They wrote about aura building and also about objects you place in the space, and
mm.
this is a magic thing, no? This
Aura sounds
aura, the
very
soul of the
expensive.
things, no?
Yeah,
I don't
but
know if it's a,
aura sounds expensive. If something has aura, it must cost more.
I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, you think
Yeah.
so?
Yeah, so we just had the experience of going to the Mauer Park and bought a scarf and a hat, right?
Yeah.
So they both cost like $15, 15 euros, and then they are for sure massive produced,
Mm,
and they were maybe produced in China,
mm,
and they were so affordable. So you feel like, okay, I can buy them, and they were very practical, so they can serve me in the winter. But it doesn't have any craftsmanship in it,
mhm,
and it's somehow it's. I'm not criticizing about buying a scarf, but I feel like it's interesting to see like a space which contains a lot of same things, and people are looking for it. I don't know how to say it. It's like massive produce, but then people are looking for something, and then we don't know what we are looking for.
mm. But then I also think like it's a way where you put the scarf in the end. I feel just like if it's just about all the expensive things
Yeah,
that are crafted in a way is sold on an expensive price, for example, and if you wore an outfit and all of the things you wear are just like expensive, you can put the same way an apartment together made of like expensive furniture.
yeah,
I don't know if this is, I think this is exactly what I feel it is this is the solution, like I feel it's more about um how you put the things together to create the context,
Yeah, that's
how
interesting.
you match in a way and how you fit the things that they, I guess in this case, if we talk about clothes or fashion or apartment, to express the one who is owning apartment or the clothes, no? I mean,
Yeah,
it's about, I mean, this is always the thing, no? Like, okay, everybody says this brand is amazing and they're crafting, maybe they're ecologic or whatever, and then we all buy it. But then if I don't relate to this piece, is it still authentic?
yeah,
Is it creating an aura for me when when I'm just putting it because everybody says this is a great design?
yeah,
Isn't it more about like, okay, I feel this is belonging to me, or I feel something, or it makes me happy, or it puts some joy on me, and then I
mm,
can also combine. Or sometimes I can buy something expensive, and sometimes I can buy
mm,
something else, and then maybe when I put them together, it creates maybe another tale in a way. You know what I mean?
That's interesting. That is the concept of art installation almost.
Yeah, probably. No, this is the concept of how to make a space. I mean, also in architecture, you would, I mean, you always depend on the budget. So if you have a budget, then you would probably say, okay, what is your focus? What is really important to you? What do we put more budget on the roof or on the flooring or
Mm,
on the base, and then the rest is maybe a bit more humble, no? Doesn't
mm.
mean that it needs to be cheap, but in a way to balance and to put, like a painting, no, to put one focus, no?
Yeah, it's interesting. This time I did this huge tour from New York to China. I mean, inside of China from Dandong to Beijing, and then from Beijing to Berlin, and soon back to New York again. I felt like right now in my late 20s, the things that I care about, I focus about, has sharply changed. For I talked a lot about economy with my friend, like just how to spend money and how to look at money. And this something that we all find that there's a need to talk about. Maybe it's something that we don't talk about when we grow up, we don't talk about when we're in school, or this is not a concept that we talk about at home, or personally not talk
Mm-hmm.
about at home.
Mm.
Like, so when you grow up in Germany, in Berlin, like what was your idea like of spending money, for example?
I don't even know if it's like, if it was such a big issue back
Yeah.
then. Age, maybe it's also the place, maybe it's also people you're surrounded with. Of course, now it's so much more money than before, no? But I don't know, like when we were young, we were more about like, okay, let's share the things together, the time, and see what we can do without money, actually.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, because I think, I mean, probably we all didn't just simply have so much money anyway. I think there's a big culture also in Germany. I mean, since we don't have these, for example, these high fees as you have in the US to study when you go to university, you barely have to pay any fees. So, um, quite much everyone, one who wants to, can go to university, and still we have to pay rent and no, our food and everything. So still we need money, and everybody, many people have a kind of job,
Mm,
but it's always like studying is in the focus, and then also to party, and to have friends. So I think there's a culture in Germany where you used to have not so much money but a lot of time, and probably also from this we have this strong flea market culture, no, like here, no, that everybody goes to flea market. And here, I mean,
mm,
this flea market changed a lot because now it's, yeah, it's very touristic, and what they sell is not antique or old stuff so much anymore. There's some of these styles left, but most of this is, as we said, now it's produced. So you buy new things here. which is not the idea of a flea market, but there's still many flea markets, and the people still love to buy secondhand. No?
Yeah.
And this is less the vintage shops, but really flea markets, and where also normal people sell their old stuff. So no, people find things they like. No, it's not about it's produced in an expensive way, I guess,
Mm.
and it's not about to have. Also, I think also concerning food, what you say really changed when you spend money on food now. Of course, a lot of about ecological stuff, and I guess in old days we just used to cook more.
Yeah, I think what you're saying is very interesting. I remember the first time I arrived in Germany, actually in Frankfurt am Main, that a friend of mine brought me to a flea market in Offenbach am Main, so a
Mm.
sister city that is next to the um, like main river. And I remember that time was more like a flea market experience because every dealer right now in Mauer Park actually has to pay a fee to stay here to sell their stuff. But back then, when I was in Offenbach, like I saw people just, drove their car and open up the trunk and sell stuff. It's
Yeah,
like very different experience.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess there always used to be a little fee or something, but it was high, you know. And I don't know. We just in Berlin. I think maybe it's also a Berlin thing. We just didn't think so much about money. I guess this is also why all the artists came here because,
Yeah.
of course, they didn't have any money, and here we had low rents. I mean, now everything is completely different. But I think, yeah, we didn't care so much about money. Now it's different. Now everybody is, of course, we need money. We need to pay the rent. We want to do shopping, and we also did shopping, of course, back at the time. But we spent it on different things. So we didn't
What did you spend on like back to the days?
food. I mean, I went abroad a lot, so traveling,
Yeah.
and I think, yeah. And then I also remember I got a lot of clothes from my friend, or I'd give a lot of clothes to my friends. I really, of course, I bought clothes as well. No, like we were sitting a lot in the kitchen, drinking and cooking, and then typical memory of mine is how we sit to start on Friday afternoon, no, go for grocery shopping, and then we start cooking for
Mm.
like until Saturday, no? And then the Saturday evening we would go out and maybe to a club or to bar or the vernissage or something. And then Sunday we'd sit in the kitchen again with a lot of coffee, the Bialetti, the mocha, the big one, and share
Yeah.
coffee with everyone. Because people, we always messed up to go home.
Yeah.
We always drinking, clubbing, and then I also remember in my flat, many people after clubbing they were passing by because my house was so close. So they ring the bell in the mornings like, Anna, I don't want to go home. It's so far. Can I stay in your place? And when I woke up, there's always people there on Sunday.
Mm.
Then we had a slow breakfast, meaning that when we end our breakfast, it's 3 or 4 in the afternoon or even later because.
Yeah.
So it's actually not so much time. And on Monday we go back to university or to our atelier or something. No,
Mm.
yeah, it's really an interesting question. I have to say, how did we spend money? I think you were rather saying like, okay, I don't have money. What do we do? Like now you have all the shops like sales staff everywhere all the time, and I think like 15 years ago, yeah, you could do online shopping, but it was not that we are like always checking and no, I don't know.
Yeah. So online shopping was really developed in China actually. Like everybody knows about that. But there's a very interesting economic models for that. So there's like TikTok, but there's this live event, like online event about a celebrity or a internet celebrity talking about a specific product, but in some way they also talk about their life. So like there's this kind of online event lasts for hours every single day,
Like
and
influencer, no?
yeah, like influencer, but more and more different kind of people also joined. So for example, um like celebrity, like film stars
Yeah, yeah.
or writers or like people from different kind of professions, because this is really fast money that you earn a lot by selling things from one night or something. So what I felt differently this time when I came back to China is like you go on the street, but there aren't so many people. Like the business, retail business is not doing so well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, this is what I found, okay, a little bit sad, but it also makes me feel like we are living in a society, in a world that is so complex, and now so many problems, you know, with the US elections and the wars in Gaza's, Ukraine, Africa's, and also I think young people also face the problem of finding jobs. I mean, I personally have these problems. It's
Mm-hmm,
very
mm-hmm.
difficult for me, like studying art, to go to find a practical job which earns enough income that I felt like, wow, it's equal to what I invested.
Mm-hmm,
So economic instabilities.
mm-hmm.
Also, there's like this environmental concerns, and so I found it like we are living in an era that there are just so many problems that I find it very difficult to grasp. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then of course, I mean, because we are now in a lucky generation that we don't have the wars in our countries at the moment, at least. Um, I don't know. I think it's also related a lot about all this freedom, also with the internet and the sense that you can go and do anything you want and you can go anywhere you want. And then, of course, when you have this freedom to choose, of course, you're free to choose to study art. But probably it has never been easy to be an artist. And I guess, in the sense, it was good at the time in Berlin that it was such a empty place, no, with so many open spaces, which are closing down now, of course. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's a difficult time. But then also, when I ask parents or friends who are older, then it's, I guess, I don't know. Probably every generation has these issues, no,
Yeah.
in a way.
Yeah, that's true. We are facing like a political dilemma, also existential questions, I think.
Yeah.
Like nowadays we think about women in their 20s, in their 30s, they have many different options to choose their lives than 20 years ago, than 10 years ago.
Yeah, or especially let's say then like 50 years ago, no? When you imagine it.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I think we're in the best position in that sense right now.
Yeah, but that's also present problems because of we have to choose. There are so many
Yeah, of
options.
course.
There are like 100 scarves in the flea market. There are like too many different choices of restaurant that we have to make, and too many hats that
We're
they all
spoiled
look good.
kids. We're
Yeah,
spoiled.
we are spoiled
Completely
kids.
spoiled.
Yeah, I
But I
know.
guess that's not what you want to say, no? I don't know. I'm just teasing you a bit.
No, but
No,
we
no, I
are
understand
spoiled
it.
kids, but that doesn't mean that you're not suffer from
No,
like
no.
has to
No, of
make
course, I mean,
choices.
even then we have all these options now. Of course, we still have our problems, and I also think that's completely valid, no, in a way. It's just, I guess, that I don't know. I think for Berlin it was until the pandemic, and then after it became a bit, things changed a bit in Germany. Also because, of course, energy prices. Also in architecture, my field now we have a big wave of people getting fired, no, because of the budgets are exploding and stuff. And this was, in a time it was better, like I guess from 2010 to 2020, let's say, no. So I guess now we realize that it was a good time in that sense, no. And but before that, actually, it has also been quite rough, at least in Berlin. Because I had like some slightly older colleague, and she told me when she had her degree in 2000, when was it, 8 or something, she didn't find any job because the economy was so low, and yeah, I don't know. Yeah, but I, of course, I understand your question, your point, and for sure, right now, I think it's also a problem. We get so much information every day in all these channels. Like, I mean, before you used to have a cell phone, not a smartphone, but a cell phone. No? You could call people and send an SMS, and I mean, it's a long time ago, even. But when did we buy a first smartphone? 2008 or 9. And I think also since then things change. You have news everywhere. You open Instagram, you have news in a way, and there's so many opinions from so many people because now you have everyone stating their opinion online. No, some people are angry, some people are afraid, some people are sad, some people are happy, and then you see all these different people, and you never know if it's real or not. And I guess it's also like we have a influx or um, like a completely overwhelming amount of
Information.
information, I guess. And I think this is also probably a big point in our lives, because when you see, you have a lot of friends, of course, and all these friends are traveling a lot, and when they post something on their social media, of course they will post nice stuff. No, not when they're in the deepest crisis of their lives, they will not post it, but of course they post a big success, and then you looking at it and you're thinking, okay, I also have to travel, I also have to have success, and this is this pressure now everyone is talking about. I think this is actually a big point. I had like the other day I was talking to my father, and he said to me, yeah, you have a really big issue going on there, no? And he was pointing on my smartphone, like you have a really big pressure there, no? And he was just pointing on my smartphone, like, yeah, yeah, I think it's a big pressure for us.
Yeah. Oh,
And
he
meanwhile,
is talking about like it's stressful to look at the phone, to look at other people's success.
and always to be attentive for everything. No? For other people, for your friends' success, for the success of famous artists, the people who really inspire you, who've been idols for you, no?
Oh,
Or
that's
like,
true.
and also, of course, the news, no? Or the political news. And then, of course, you are traveling from Asia to Europe to America, and you're interested. So you're kind of, no, you're studying about, we talk about German politics, no? You know about American politics, you know about what's going on in China. And this is for you, I mean, this is of course,
Like a
I
mind
mean,
fuck.
if you yeah, right, if it doesn't drive you crazy, you're a super warrior, basically, no. And I mean, I know what's going on in China or Japan or a bit in the US, and I mean, since we're interested, but it's also a big stress, no. I mean, if you think about elections, it's everywhere is going like in a really weird direction right now. I mean, I don't know, like,
Mm.
um, yeah, I guess there's some kind of um, very general anxiety, like a no, like this layer of like a fog, no, of anxiety in our generation now everywhere, because I talk to my friends in Japan and they're not happy about politics there. I talk to you or other people. Nobody is, and of course, American friends super
Yeah.
like they're completely terrified right now. Like I have an American colleague, and he's like
Yeah.
completely out of it. He's just like, I think, I don't know, like this is.
So everybody's reaction is slightly different. No, every group is slightly different. So, for example, I met two of my friends in China, and one of the girl actually working in a department in the Chinese government, and then the other one was more like freelancer, like a teacher job in a institute in China in Beijing. So they have a common hobby. They really love to watch the TikTok videos every single night
Mhm.
before they go to bed. And they like to watch those videos about, for example, somebody is living abroad and then
Mhm. Mhm.
their like everyday life,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
like for example, a woman married a foreign guy, lived
Mhm.
in New York, and have two kids, one dog, and they're
Yeah.
like daily soap operas. And I find that very interesting because
Mm.
these two friends of mine, they don't know each other.
Mm.
And when they talk about this specific person, for example, Annemarie, and then they talk as if they have known this
Yeah.
person for like 10 years or
I think it's also the trap. I guess in the old, like many years ago, you would have a movie, no? You go watch a film or like what do you say, a drama, like soap opera, like no, a series, television, and of course somewhere you know, okay, this is fake, they're acting, no? But then now you see all this stuff on social media, and of course, I mean, for sure there's some acting in it, but you really think that okay, this is their life, and they have this happy life, and as we said before, no, as a woman now you can be independent, you have your own salary, nice, but also sometimes you stay single for a while, no, and you don't have this perfect husband and the kids, and you're also happy with it. But then some video is coming around the corner telling you, hey, look at me, I'm living in New York, I have a husband, I have a
uh,
kid and the dog, and I'm so perfect. And then you're like, what? Why? Well,
yeah.
um,
The one thing is like they aren't perfect. Like their life is still like a big mess, but the key is to show this kind of imperfection in a person's life that considered to be okay or considered to be happy, like
mm,
in a social level.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but I find this kind of behavior very interesting.
Yeah, I think the interesting point about it is this example you give, like with this. Uh, the point is like you say, okay, this woman is living in New York, and then you add this fact, okay, she has a foreign husband, no, maybe American or whatever, maybe she's Chinese. This is already interesting, no. But then you add, oh, and she has a child and a dog, and this is bringing us to very conservative, like very, let's say, traditional images, no, which is fine, which is completely fine, I think. But it's also like, okay, in the end, after all of this, after all of what we go through as like all these movements we have of feminism or whatever,
Yeah.
this is the detail, to find it kind of, oh, just juicy, she's living in New York and she has a dog and she has a kid, and I mean, like, and this is kind of,
Yeah.
is what is, I wonder, what is the most interesting, if you were like just living in China as a, like as a normal person that never lived abroad, like what is the most juicy point about this story? The foreign husband, that you have a guy who's not like an Asian guy but a little bit more has a bit more temperament, or that you, the fact that you are able to live in New York, you're okay there to stay, or maybe, or is it the kid or is it the dog? What is the juicy point about it? What do you want to see? What is the one? What detail you want to have? You know what I mean?
That's interesting
Huh?
because for me, I'm a little bit blind about this.
Uh,
Do you know what do I see? Like sometimes I'm also getting super tired. I was like scrolling on my
uh.
phone on Instagram. I like to see countryside stuff.
Okay, okay, okay.
I like to see. I like to
And
see.
then is their husband or a horse?
Oh,
Or what do you?
you know what do I like to see? I like to see like grandparents' generation stuff.
Like your grandma
Yeah, something like
and
that.
a picture, the happy family. You want a happy relationship? What do you want? What do you
I
want,
know it's
Yaching?
like
You can have all the all
I
the fantasy, all the bubbles.
oh bubbles in my podcast.
Yeah, which bubble you want to see before you go to sleep tonight? Which TikTok do you want to see?
I don't watch the good, but
Is it the house at the ocean or the mountains?
um, good question.
Animals, big family, small family, no family.
Oh,
Are
I
you
also
there?
sometimes like to see those like motivational quotes from like woman dressed like CEO and stuff.
Ah, businesswoman.
I
Okay.
like that too.
Okay.
So I think my drive was success too, but also like in the gaps of those like a desire driven life, I also like to see something like super relaxed. So it's super paralyzed. I either love to see those videos and okay, this is maybe a little
Like
bit
the
shame
Japanese hot springs.
a
No.
shame. Yeah, that I also like, but I like to see like women they have their power, even though I know those are full performance sometimes. Or I love to see countryside life, those funny countryside life, which you don't talk about anything serious. You don't need to um, talk about politics. You don't
Hmm.
need to talk about how to manage your time, life, spend money. This all those stressful topics they are
But
out.
it's so interesting, no? Because also this is a hallucination, no? Like it's not real, no? Because now just in the news, now you're. Did you see that? The EU is trying to make this free trade agreement with Brazil, and now all the all the farmers in France, they're like angry, like really aggressive. They're all on the street, they're so political.
Yeah, that's
Your
true.
beloved farmers, they're so political, they're so angry. And also Germany, because they see now the French, they're not as crazy as in France. As the French, they always go straight onto the street, no, to to demonstrate against. But also the German, no, farmers, then they look at them and they say, okay, we also don't like it. And then they also go on their truck. Then they come to Berlin on the big machines, no,
Yeah.
to Brandenburger Tor, and they also demonstrate against. So also your little bubble life is
Yeah,
like.
I think you're right because in 2020, when I was living in like India, I remember like a huge title about like farmers doing
Mm.
demonstration on the street of New Delhi despite the
Yeah.
high heat because of like the government trying to control the price of their
Mm.
farmer goods. Like
Yeah.
the governments want to buy all the farmers' goods and decide the price themselves. Yeah, you're right because in my shameful fantasy or bubble, like if you doing any farming activity that you're far away from, like
So no farming. So you're more like yeah, you have to be independent from any office, no? So you have to be able to move by whatever way you do your artist career from now.
yeah,
Uh, Laptop, you're okay, no? One MacBook, and then you're okay, and then you gotta sit in a very cute house. You buy it somewhere, and you rely on the internet, right? That you can work because you will not do no farming because this is gonna put stress on you again.
yeah, he
How do
asked
you?
for the home challenge, but in this way you have to generate money and you hope you have a studio that you
Right?
can do like physical artwork.
Yeah, but then I mean, if you are more in the countryside, you will have more space, no, to do this. So then it's just about getting the amount to kind of pay off loans for a house, which are maybe cheaper than for apartment in New York City. So
You mean this is actually my real fantasies combined together?
I'm just thinking if you adjust a bit, I guess, I mean, you're talking about something that you sometimes you would like to have a place where you can be more focused
Yeah,
and less stressed out by things that come in from outside, no? Like be more,
that's true.
right?
I think that may be my combined fantasy. So I can only talk from this standpoint because I only know what was my desire, like what was I looking
Mm.
at 12 o'clock when I cannot sleep,
Yeah.
what I find like very funny. But I have problem, as you said, to know what my friends, like colleagues, like in China, or when they looking at like foreign
In the New York
international
family.
wife, family, life, dog, kids, what they are looking at or what they are fantasizing
Yeah,
about.
that's interesting. No? Yeah.
Yeah. What are you fantasizing about?
Me, I think if I move to the countryside,
Yeah.
I wanted to have animals. I
Yeah.
would have cats and dogs and horses.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't be farming. But this is for sure. I mean, if I want to run out of it, I can share your idea. I mean, this is I don't need to see it on TikTok, but I know this because my mother's side they have horses and all of this. So I just sometimes, yeah, I remember my childhood when I went to my grandma's place,
Yeah.
where me and my cousins, we were surrounded by horses and dogs and cats.
Mm.
I think this would be nice way to sneak out. But then I also know the reality that my cousins who all have horses, they would never be able to go to China or Japan or America because they have to take care of the
Horses,
horses,
livestock.
Yeah, so they can really not travel. Like it's recently my uncle and my aunt, they got their pension, so they're staying at home. And sometimes my cousin now can come to Berlin and visit. It's also not that she's so much interested into going to the city, but for me, of course, this is something I know that the reality is a bit different. And for me, I don't know, I really enjoy now finally. I mean, I have my flat here in Berlin, as you know, and I have my
Interesting.
cats and I have my job and I love what I do. So it's stressful. Often it's quite stressful, but I'm quite okay as it is. Maybe if I wanted something, or what is really important to me in a way, or what I feel sometimes a bit not lonely, but let's say kind of lonely about, is that of course I have a lot of friends like
Yeah.
you, no,
Yeah.
that live abroad, no, that we spend the time together at some point. I
Yeah.
have many people like that because I used to live abroad in several countries, no, and then I went back and forth and always a new apartment, and I often had flatmates, for example.
Mm.
I remember with all these flatmates, we had a lot of friends, and they would come and go, as I described earlier, having food together, no, for 2 days in the kitchen and drinking, smoking, partying, and just hang out together.
Mm.
I miss the people. I miss that, of course, that often I'm going to work and I think one moment, oh, Yaching is in New York now, or oh, Sarah is in Australia. No, as I told you, no, or one day I wish that everybody comes to visit me at once, maybe. And we have a big party, you know, for 1 week. We just stay in the kitchen and we share the food. I think this is one. If somebody makes TikTok um, about this, maybe I will download TikTok finally because I've never seen it. But
Yeah.
you know, I think this community. I'm not into this typical family that is like a bubble.
Mm.
But I think you know what I'm terrified about this image about this family with the dog and the kids is that the cliche
Mm.
and also some maybe people I used to know when you marry and you have kids that everybody's getting so stressed out with the kids because both of them working, no time, they stop seeing their friends and the friends become less important. So they're kind of cut off and you have this bubble of just husband, wife, the kid, and the dog. And for me, this is terrifying. I want my friends. No, when I make a joke, you are aunt of my cats. No, I say hi, he's coming. No, and I want everybody passing into my house. This is what I want. I think I want a big family of friends, and if I have a husband or kids, also nice. Why not? Okay, the dog I want anyway. Yes, the dog I want. The kid, the husband. Yeah, if it works out well, that they're open enough to accept that also my friends are a part of
Interesting.
this. You know, like I want the community. I think I want the community.
Do you know, actually, I realized one thing as we are talking. I think we all lived in our favorite lives. Because what I realized is I find it terrifying to lose the freedom of movement. So
Yeah.
that means I do not want to have to stay in one place, have to be locked there. I want to have this freedom of travel. I want to have this freedom of meeting different people, and that I am living in this kind of
Mm-hmm.
life.
Mm-hmm.
But that kind of life also requires you to constantly learning new things.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
could
yeah,
be
yeah.
a burden.
Mm-hmm.
And what my ideal like fantasy is portraying something that is effortless. It's
Mm-hmm.
effortless that you don't have to learn different languages. You
Mm-hmm.
don't have to learn different policies. You don't have to learn different
Mm-hmm.
histories.
Mm-hmm.
This is impossible to
Mm-hmm.
have the freedom I'm having and not pay the price I'm paying.
Mm-hmm.
And
You don't want to pay anymore.
yeah, I think for my friends too, I do not know what exactly their gaining or their price is,
Mm-hmm.
but I do think we all choose our favorite lives, and here comes the price.
No, no, you know, I think we all in a way will pay the amount we're willing to pay. No, I go abroad, I'm paying. I mean, usually when you go a lot of, I mean, I think when I look at my greater family or friends from school,
Yeah.
no, and when I choose to like be traveling
Yeah.
and stepping out of that group, I mean, of course, they are like terrified by me because I'm leaving them behind and they don't understand. And I look like so cool, no? I'm like, oh, she's always going abroad. You're always moving. You're always traveling. You're so dynamic, blah, blah, blah. And of course, people forget about all the sweat, no? That you're sweating basically, no? Blood and pain because you always, of course, you have to work. You have to take the airplanes. You have to leave people behind. You have to work for what you're doing. But then I also think it's a lot about what I spend lots of energy on was to find my own way, like let's say identity maybe.
Yeah.
Like when you, for example, you choose to become an artist, no, you have to find out how does it work, what art do I want to do, who do I want to be. And I think this is a lot of energy. And if you, for example, if you kept changing identities, like I was an artist, now I become an architect, and then 5 years later I'm going to study something else, I think this is super crazy.
Yeah.
But then I think now when you settle down in your own identity, of course, still you will always have to learn. But I think, especially when you're in 20s, it's super extreme, no? And then when you get into the 30s, 40s, you're getting more aligned with your own identity. Then I think it feels as if you had to pay less, let's say,
Mm.
because you keep also some of your friends and some people will be similar to you. So you will have good like friends to talk to about it.
Mm.
I mean, so I think in a way it will not be like this forever. Don't worry. You know?
I will not be in war with myself forever.
No, no, no. I don't think so. You know, it's you. But of course, in the 20s, is you have to pay in a way, but it's also super fun and this energy you have.
I think I like the podcast I'm making. It's because of this is not a bubble. I think we are like onions that we peel the skins off and we are showing what is really inside instead of trying to like create a bubble for people in this economy, in this internet, social media economy, and that's what I like. Like we are the onions and we are peeling ourselves off and we are showing what our problems really are. Okay, I think it's the time that you want to smoke and I want to go to the bathroom. So anyway, then Mala Park is right now dark at 5:14 p.m. That's
Mhm.
crazy, like
It's winter
German. The
time.
winter is da, like the
Yeah,
winter
winter
is
is
here.
da.
So thank you so much for listening. I'm available on YouTube Podcast, YouTube Music, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Pocket Podcast. And I will see you next week again on Sunday. I'm sorry. Recently, I've been not updating my podcast like regularly because of this crazy trip, but I will get back on it. And I hope like people can write to me about what they're thinking about, what are their problems. Okay.
Thank you
And
so much.
again, thank you to me so much. Okay, great. So see you next time. Ciao ciao. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.